The internet moves fast, but outrage moves faster. At 9:14 a.m. Los Angeles time, a fan account posted a side-by-side image. On the left, Taylor Swift during her glittering showgirl-inspired performance era, sequins catching stage light like falling stars. On the right, Kim Kardashian in costume from her upcoming film, almost mirroring the aesthetic. The caption read simply, "Coincidence." Within 6 minutes, the post crossed 1 million views. Within 20 minutes, entertainment blogs picked it up. Within an hour, the narrative was already decided. Kim copied Taylor. But what nobody watching realized was that behind the scenes, neither woman had any idea the comparison was about to explode. And what followed would quietly reopen wounds dating back nearly a decade, wounds the public believed had already healed. Hollywood doesn't run on talent alone. It runs on perception. Two artists can wear the same outfit, perform under the same lights, or tell similar stories, but audiences rarely see coincidence. They see intention. And when history exists between two icons, every detail becomes evidence. This story isn't really about costumes or glam styling. It's about identity in the age of constant observation. About what happens when millions of strangers decide what your actions mean before you even speak. And about how one creative decision, made months earlier in a quiet production meeting, triggered a global debate neither woman planned. Because behind every viral headline is a timeline no one sees. Let's rewind. 6 months earlier, a private conference room in Beverly Hills smelled faintly of coffee and fresh paint. Script pages were scattered across the table, highlighted in neon colors. Kim leaned forward, reading silently. The film was different from anything she had done before. Not reality television. Not fashion campaigns. A dramatic role set in the fading golden age of Las Vegas show culture. A woman reinventing herself after public humiliation. A performer learning how to reclaim control of her narrative. The irony wasn't lost on her. The director explained the vision carefully, not glamorous in a modern influencer way, but theatrical, almost nostalgic. Feathered headpieces, rhinestone corsets, old-school stage confidence. Think classic showgirl, he said softly. Power through performance. Kim paused. She didn't say yes immediately, because for years, every decision she made had been measured against public opinion. Every outfit analyzed. Every appearance dissected. And somewhere in the back of her mind lived a familiar fear. Whatever she did, people would compare it to someone else. Still, she signed the contract, not knowing that months later, one wardrobe fitting would ignite a storm. Across the country, meanwhile, Taylor Swift was ending another sold-out performance night. Backstage energy buzzed like electricity. Glitter dust clung to the floor. Fans screamed beyond the walls, unwilling to let the night end. Her showgirl aesthetic, bold, theatrical, unapologetically dramatic, had become one of the defining visuals of her era. It represented reinvention after scrutiny, confidence after public battles. For Taylor, performance wasn't just entertainment. It was storytelling armor. Every costume told a chapter of survival, and audiences connected deeply with that transformation. Which is why, when Kim's movie stills appeared months later, fans didn't just see fashion. They saw symbolism. And symbolism feels personal. The first reaction videos appeared by noon. Commentators leaned toward webcams, eyebrows raised. I mean, you can't tell me this isn't inspired. Is this shade? Are we reopening that era again? Old clips resurfaced. Old interviews. Old tensions people thought were buried. The internet doesn't forget. It archives emotion. And suddenly, two timelines merged, past drama and present coincidence. Kim's team noticed the shift first. Her publicist walked into a production trailer holding a phone already vibrating with notifications. "You're trending," she said carefully. Kim smiled automatically. Trending usually meant success. Then she saw the headlines. Her expression changed almost instantly. Not anger, not panic, something quieter. Exhaustion. Because she recognized this pattern. A narrative forming before she could explain anything. "What are they saying?" she asked. The answer came gently. "They think you copied Taylor." Silence filled the room. And for a moment, even the hum of studio lights felt loud. Kim stared at the photo comparison longer than anyone expected. Not because she agreed, but because she understood why people felt that way. She knew public memory worked emotionally, not logically. And she also knew responding too quickly could make things worse. Inside, conflicting thoughts raced. If she defended herself, critics would say she was guilty. If she stayed silent, the narrative would grow. If she laughed it off, fans might think she was dismissive. Every option carried risk. Meanwhile, miles away, Taylor's team began receiving questions from reporters asking whether she felt copied. Taylor hadn't even seen the photos yet. When she finally did, she reportedly paused, not with anger, but curiosity. Because creative overlap in entertainment wasn't unusual. But public reaction? That part was unpredictable. And what happened next changed everything. Late that evening, an unexpected detail surfaced online. A fashion historian posted archival images from 1960s Las Vegas performances, nearly identical styling elements used decades before either celebrity entered the spotlight. Feathers, crystal corsets, showgirl silhouettes. The aesthetic didn't belong to one artist. It belonged to history. But by then, the conversation had already evolved beyond facts. Fans weren't debating fashion anymore. They were debating loyalty. And loyalty turns discussion into battle. Comment sections divided overnight. Some defended Kim's artistic freedom. Others protected Taylor's creative identity. The story grew bigger than either woman. And behind closed doors, both began realizing something unsettling. Neither of them controlled the narrative anymore. The cameras finally turned on in Studio 12. Kim stepped onto the set in full costume for the first time. The lights hit her face. The orchestra track began to play. And for a brief moment, she stopped thinking about headlines entirely. Because performance has a strange power. It silences noise. But outside that studio, millions of people were still arguing, still comparing, still waiting for a reaction. And the next 48 hours would push the story toward an emotional breaking point no one predicted. Because sometimes the real drama isn't rivalry. It's misunderstanding. And sometimes silence speaks louder than any statement ever could.